All right, welcome back to Just My Two Cents. Today we're diving into chapters 2 and 3 of I'm Not the Girl I Used to Be by Mahogany Jackson. Now, listen, next time we'll be covering chapters 4 and 5, and those will be the last ones available on the public side. After that, we're taking the final chapters over to the tribe's members only section. Shout out to my new members. I see y'all. And if you haven't joined yet, it's just 99 cents to get in, and the link is in the description. Let's get into it. Y'all, we're about to dive into some real talk today. These next two chapters are something else, okay? It's giving drama, it's giving heartbreak, and it's definitely giving sis. Why are you still doing this today? So, chapter 2 is called Desperate, and that is a great description for this chapter, okay? So, Mahogany starts high school with more freedom and unfortunately, more ways to get caught up. Her focus shifts from her studies to boys, and let's just say the need to feel wanted gets her into some tricky situations. She went from relationship to relationship, searching for someone to make her feel complete. She even said that she exposed herself multiple times to various guys, whether through pictures or rhymes with pornographic videos, in an effort to keep them entertained without having to give them sex. Mahogany explains how she lost her virginity at the age of 15. And it sounds like she wasn't even that into the guy, but the desire to feel wanted pulled her in. After their encounter, she finds out that he already had a girlfriend. The guy kept saying that wasn't his girlfriend, and clearly he was lying to her. Mahogany was completely turned off by the situation, and even though the guy continued to text her afterwards, she stopped texting him back. And unfortunately, this wouldn't be the last time she found herself in this type of situation. But she felt absolutely disrespected and turned off, and she never talked to the guy again. And unfortunately, that was her first experience having sex and losing her virginity. And it turns out it really wasn't, some sort of deep relationship or a first love. So that was kind of sad to hear. But then we get into some real uncomfortable territory. Her cousin moves in, and at first, he's just a confidant. She told him about how she lost her virginity, and he also gave her advice about boys. But things shifted from innocent conversations to her cousin beginning to flirt with her. And she would entertain this flirtation by dressing promiscuously. That turned into having inappropriate conversations. And then one night, while she was laying in her bed, he peeked in her room. She invited him in, and she gave into her lustful desires, and they ended up having sex. She said that they had sex more times than she could count, and it went on for months. She said they started to actually secretly date. And of course, this situation spirals, and when her mother finds out, her cousin then moves out. So this entire thing happened within the course of a few months, from her having sex with her cousin all the way to her mother finding out and kicking him out. But at that point, the emotional damage was already done, and Mahogany is left feeling with guilt, insecurity, and a cycle of unhealthy relationships. So I'm noticing a continuous thread with Mahogany, and that is her being the other woman or a side chick throughout the book. It's like the boys that she's with are in other relationships, and we'll talk about that some more when we dive into chapter 3. I just think it's ironic because when she was conceived, her mother had been the other woman at the time. So her father was actually married to another woman. So it's almost like it's some sort of generational curse, and she struggles to break free from that. And the irony of the most recent stuff that's come out today, I'm telling you, stuff is starting to make sense. This is definitely a pattern, and almost, and quite frankly, it feels like a curse or like a spirit that needs to be bound. Crazy. As the weight of these experiences build, Mahogany begins to spiral. Her grades dropped, she got her first F in school, and then she turns to weed as a coping mechanism. She damn near becomes a weed head. And her relationships become more about temporary validation than real love. And when I say that, she explains that she had a lot of friends with benefits relationships. Next, let's get into chapter 3. But before that, I want you guys to take a look at this. Hey fam, I'm so excited to share something that's made a real difference in my life, okay? I'm talking about Black Girl Vitamins, a proudly Black owned brand that's here to empower our community and tackle some of the most unique challenges that we face. Are you ready to begin your journey to better health? If so, click on the link below for 20% off of your next order. That's on top of sales. Or you can go to blackgirlvitamins.co and use code 2cents at checkout. All right, so welcome back, guys. Chapter 3 is called What I Thought Love Was. And so this was very tough to read. I'm not going to even lie. It starts off with Mahogany getting a DM on Facebook from a guy named Terrance, who is a good-looking guy from a rival school. Now, mind you, this is a very small town. There's only 2 high schools. And this guy, like I said, he's from a rival school. He's very charming, charismatic, and already has a reputation of being a player. So her friends warn her to leave him alone, but she doesn't listen, okay? She gets caught up fast. She's texting him all the time. They're meeting up at events. And mind you, at the time, he was definitely showing interest in her as well. And she started feeling like she's finally found someone who sees her. Within weeks, he invites her over. His mom is actually in the house downstairs. He didn't even introduce her to his mom, and they go straight upstairs. And after some small talk up in his room, sex followed. And at this point, she believes she's in love. She starts spending more and more time with him, and he's giving her all of the attention she craves. But then the rumors start. He actually starts being affectionate with her out in public. So people are seeing this, and the rumors begin. It's like, oh, so they're a couple? So now she's starting to hear rumblings about him because they're now out in public being affectionate. So other girls reach out. They're claiming they're dating Terrance too. And Mahogany confronts him, and he denies everything. Her friends tell her to let him go once again, but she doesn't want to. She asks him straight up, "What are we?" And of course, he gives her the vaguest answers. He would say, "We're just talking," or, "You're my girl." Okay. So months go by, and the signs are right in her face. She sees him with other girls. She starts stalking their social media. And what was interesting is she started studying the style of the girls that he would be posted up with on social media, because she felt that by changing herself to look more like the type of girls that he was attracted to would then make him more attracted to her. Y'all, she's literally reshaping herself to be what she thinks he wants. But the final straw, he takes another girl out to a fancy restaurant, something he never did for her. That's when reality hits. She realizes she was never his priority. Meanwhile, their quote unquote dates consisted of just chilling at his house. The night of his date with the other girl, she cries herself to sleep, but the next day, Terrance texts her like nothing happened. And what does she do? She responds. And just like that, the cycle continues. She decided to continue to stay with him, even after this realization that he doesn't treat her like this other girl who he deemed to be more special. Mind you, we're talking about 11 months later. So we're almost talking a year later when she found out that he actually took this other young lady on an actual date at a restaurant. And even though he clearly had more respect for this other woman, she still wanted to be with him. So listen, these are just my 2 cents. We've all known or been someone who ignored every red flag because the affection felt too good to let it go. But at what cost? Mahogany was so desperate to feel wanted that she was willing to put up with disrespect, deceit, and heartbreak just to keep that feeling going. And let's be real, how many times do we see this play out in real life? So, what do y'all think? Is this just young, naive love, or is this something deeper? Let me know in the comments. Y'all take care and protect your peace. This is just my 2 cents.